so I'm sort of out of ideas for serious decks to play, so today I decided to play a meme dragon deck where we just throw a bunch of the silly new cards that we got this expansion into one deck and just rely on the power of ramp to sort of carry it to victory, as well as some other weird stuff going on, which I guess we'll talk about when we look at the deck list. So yeah, let's look at the deck list we're playing for today first. So this is the list we're playing for today. The idea is to make use of some of the interesting new cards. The main ones are Encroached World, which allows you to get a random card from your opponent's deck at the end of at every turn. And then you have Omegotep, which is this like sort of random chance ability that you can repeat with Super Evo. And then Dragon has the unique ability with Zell, or not unique actually, because technically Abyss has it too, but we have Zell who has the ability to give the Omegotep Storm. So if you manage to make a big Omegotep by repeating this fourth ability a few times, you can just give it Storm and punch your opponent in the face for lethal, which is fun. And then the rest of the deck is just, oh, there's also one copy of Primal Beast Absorption here just for fun. I don't really think it's useful for anything, but you know, it might come in handy eventually. Other than that, it's just pretty standard dragon stuff just to survive and ramp, and like, yeah, I think the rest of the deck is pretty straightforward. I did mess around with the deck list quite a lot while I was recording games, so you might see some changes here and there, you might not. I'm not entirely sure, but yeah, this is the list we're playing for today. It's just for fun, it's nothing serious, so let's just look at some games that I have. So my first game is against Haven. I've stopped queuing into Sword and Forest players because they all climbed up the ladder and I'm fairly low on it right now, so yeah. First game is against Haven. It's probably going to be some kind of Crest variant because that's what they usually play. For the mulligan, I keep World of Games, Ramp, and Encroached World. Depending on matchup, I might keep different things, but I mean, it's just a meme that you don't really have to take the mulligan very seriously. But then goes for Serene Sanctuary here, it doesn't really tell us much. We're just gonna go ahead and drop Firelink here, just as a little bit of tempo on the board to start annoying my opponent with. My opponent is gonna drop Gilnelis to clear it though, so there goes that plan. I think better to do here, so we just go ahead and drop Encroached World and start seeing what we can steal from my opponent's deck. I transformed the Firelink here on the off chance that I actually did want to put down a second Encroached World just to steal more cards. But my opponent is just gonna go ahead and go for Sofina here. We are gonna take this opportunity to, well, first we're gonna see what we can get. I wanted to keep the Grimnir because it's pretty useful. So we go ahead and transform the second Encroached World, and then we can go ahead and use Zui here to ramp and destroy their stuff. I used to run Yubel in this deck, but there is no, sorry, Yubei in this deck, but there's just not enough Evo points to go around, so I cut it. Opponent goes for Marwyn here. Maybe we can steal a Marwyn from them at some point, hopefully. But now we managed to force their Marwyn to trade evenly into our Zoe, which is pretty good. Go ahead and keep trying to get better cards from my opponent's deck. We get Grimnir here, which is not bad. You can go ahead and ramp with Liu Feng here and then play Grimnir. The entire point of this deck is just to steal your opponent's power cards and play it before they do, which is quite bad because a lot of decks right now are synergy based, so even if you manage to steal them, only Sword has like and Forest have like generally good cards to steal, so you have to watch out for that, I guess. Go ahead and transform Grimnir here, and then we try to use Omegotep to kill the Wilbur, and we actually get to do it. I was originally planning to save the... I was hoping to draw the 5-cost banish spell for Wilbur and steal it, but no can do, I guess. Let me go ahead and just super evolve Omegotep here just to annoy my opponent more. We managed to high roll pretty well with the effects that we get here. So go ahead and drop World of Games, split your extra points, and then just drop Galleon as a ward here just to protect the Omegotep, and then we can poke them in the face with our Liu Feng. Hopefully my opponent won't have a good way to kill Omegotep. You can see my opponent plays Prostrating Coward here, which most people don't really run, I guess. And then my opponent misplays here by not playing Torrent of Despair first to increase the odds of Omegotep dying this turn, and they get punished for it by my Omegotep surviving. So in case you're wondering, I didn't get lucky here. Clearing my opponent was just punished. Unfortunately here, I don't think I have lethal quite yet, so we can try to find lethal using Encroached World, and we managed to very fittingly pick up a Prostrating Coward here, so we can go ahead and steal that. And use our Prostrating Coward to kill theirs, putting them at 13, which we can go ahead and buff Omegotep Gilnalis for lethal, so that's it for this game. Our next game here is against Abyss, most likely Milteo. This matchup is absolutely unplayable because as long as they draw remotely well, I have no healing in this deck besides Urns, which they can probably kill me through, or kill me before I even get to play Urns. And I have a terrible early game because I built the deck around ramping, so yeah, this is just a terrible matchup. Not to mention there's nothing to steal with Encroached World either, because all their followers are tiny followers with no fanfares. So, but now we'll just try to reduce damage coming to our face by coining out Gilnalis. For now, we'll respond with Ghost Dodger, which is a bit annoying. I was hoping the Gilnalis would live here, but unfortunately that wasn't to be, so we just go ahead and use Lightning Strike to clear that, so we don't take 3 damage to the face. So now I'll go ahead and drop Yuna, which is a bit unusual for Milteo, but I mean it makes sense since the last is pretty good and Milteo can can reanimate her for a free bat and ghost. I see my opponent picks up the ghost and the bat there. I'm gonna use a Screaming and Loathing here, which will kill my Liu Feng, and they drop Mino as well. Pretty unusual stuff my opponent's running. I think they're playing a pretty old version of the Milteo list maybe, or they're just playing a more unusual version. I don't think people run Mino in the deck nowadays, but oh well. This is a good opportunity to drop Encroached World, so we go ahead and use Liu Feng here to ramp, and then drop Encroached World. Not that there's anything to steal really, but you know, we can see. We go ahead and get rid of Omegotep here. I just don't imagine me using it for anything. As you can see, we pick up Lilith, which is not very useful at all. For now, we'll get another Ghost Dodger down and then use their Ghost here to keep hitting me in the face, which is not great for me. We have a lot of Ghosts right now. If I'm keeping track here, they have 2 Ghost Dodgers, a Yuna, and a Cultivator. So they have 2 Ghosts in hand right now, which is a lot. We have Zell here. Unfortunately, we did just get rid of Omegotep, so that's not super useful. But we can go ahead and do something more unusual here by giving Storm to the Zui here. And I think our Reaper's Death Slash is actually not that bad, which hopefully we can find something to do with it later. I'm gonna go ahead and just train the Lilith. It doesn't really matter. Lilith will pollute the reanimate target to make it so that they can reanimate Lilith instead of Cultivate. Oh, actually they had 2 cards, so it didn't matter. Never mind, I'm stupid. Well, goes for Milteo here. It's not great, but I guess it's fine. And they have a Ghost here to deal damage. Here, thanks to Reaper's Death Slash, we actually have a very interesting play. We're trying to kill them this turn. Dewey can deal 5 and then Urns can do 8, and 1 more with Super Evo Ping if they give me a trait target for a 14 damage. I think what I was meant to do here is actually just the Super Evo of Urns and trade here, and as long as I don't die next turn, actually I'm probably gonna die next turn, so scratch that, that probably wasn't a good idea. I'll probably just die next turn if I try to do that. So anyway, I was scared of dying, so I went for this weird play where we go for Zui here. It faces Zui, and then we use Reaper's Death Slash to get rid of Zui. The reason why we do this is because we know they have bats in hand, so by doing this we can deny them the drain. And then if we can hopefully bait them into playing a follower here that we can use Urns to finish them off. Honestly, if they just pass turn here, I'm pretty sure I just lose because this deck is bad. But my opponent was very kind, so they played a follower out for me. So we can manage to cheese out a victory here thanks to the power of Reaper's Death Slash and my opponent being kind, I guess. Gotta go ahead and play Urns here, Super Evolve it, and along with the ping we have exactly 9 damage to finish them off. That's it for this game. Our final game here is against Portal. I don't really like keeping Zui because I'd rather ramp on turn 3 with Dragon Sign instead, but you know, Zui is probably fine to keep. Actually no, in this matchup specifically, Zui is probably not fine to keep because Portal has a lot of early game. And speak of the devil, out comes my opponent's a Puppet Lancer here. A Lightning Strike here, I do it because I don't want to take... If I left that Puppet Lancer alive, I would have to spend this turn clearing the Puppet Lancers, or I play Ramp, in which case I take like 4 extra damage. So I figured I would just cut my losses and clear that one. Then we can go ahead and Ramp this turn. Villain drops Love Strike Puppeteer, which is fine. We have the means to clear it thanks to Jellyfish Dancer. Unfortunately, we don't get the ramp here, so that's a bit unfortunate for us, but I think answering that board probably takes priority here. Especially since it's their Evo turn. I don't know what they're playing yet. It could be an Evo. I mean, it could be a Puppet deck, in which case we want to reduce damage coming to our face. Here, my opponent will use Grand Cheetah to draw here. So this still could be Puppet, but it's probably not. I guess is how I would process this. We can go ahead and get Galamu active now. In case they want to play Zwei, we want to make sure we can answer it. So even though we have the opportunity to ramp here, we probably shouldn't just blindly ramp. And as expected, how it comes to Zwei, which is a bit annoying. But thankfully they don't evolve it. We could have still cleared it if they evolve it, but it would have been much less clean if they evolved it. So I guess that's good for us. We can get up the Zwei here. My opponent will go ahead and play Substandard Puppet so we can confirm this is going to be an Evo deck. They coin York Xantha as well, which is annoying, but it's not the end of the world, I guess. So now we'll go ahead and clear the board. We do have Omegotep, but ideally we want to find a... We either want to try to get value out of the follower distraction, or we want to find Zell to give it Storm. So yeah, we just use Galamu to clear. And there's the Camisilla as expected of my opponent's deck, and they will go ahead and copy the Camisilla as well with their York Xantha spell. We take a bunch of damage here. It's not great. Now we drop Omegotep just because we have no other outs. Thankfully, Omegotep manages to snipe Camisilla here. So we can go ahead and do that and then just play. And it gave us enough play points to drop the Liu Feng as well, which is very nice. And then we get another high roll off of Omegotep Super Evo here, managing to clear that board while buffing itself. So now our opponent has to answer this very annoying board. I don't think they have good ways of hard removal in their deck, so this should annoy them quite a bit. Opponent will go for their Camisilla that they got from last turn, and then they draw another York Xantha. And then go ahead and trade here and then play Substandard Puppet for a 2, so this tells us that they have no more York Xantha spells because they just spent it on copying Substandard Puppet. And now they'll evolve Camisilla to deal a bunch of damage to our face while clearing my Omegotep. Unfortunately for them though, they did leave Liu Feng on board. So of course we go ahead and drop Omegotep again. This time we managed to get a few buffs out of it. Unfortunately not quite enough for lethal, but you know, we do our best. We go ahead and Super Evolve Zell here. We can hopefully find lethal with Zooey, if not we cry. I guess that's the idea. My opponent drops Lyria here. I believe they are guaranteed to pick up a Camisilla off their Lyria, but I don't know why they... Oh, it's probably because they can't clear my board if they play Camisilla. Actually, that's probably why. And do clear my board here, but unfortunately for them, they are open to Zooey, so that's it for this game. So those are all the games I have for you today. A pretty short video this time, just showcasing some like silly games I have with this very dumb deck. I wouldn't really recommend you crafting the cards for this, but if you already have them, you might as well give it a try and see how it goes. Unless you don't want to tank your rank, which is understandable, in which case don't play this deck because this deck is pretty bad. Anyway, I'm sort of out of ideas for like what decks to play at this point. I feel like I've already run through the ones that I wanted to play mostly in like the first half of the expansion. So if you have any decks that you want to see, you can go ahead and comment it, and there's a decent chance I'll make a video on it if I like the deck enough. Other than that though, that's it for today. See you next time. Bye bye.